Okay, next slide. Okay, so you don't have to write all this, but I do want you to know the backstory behind King Menes. So we know each of these regions had a king. It was easy to tell the kings apart by the color of their hat, or crown, which was more like a hat. The king who ruled the people who lived in the north at the mouth of the river wore a red crown. Their land was called Lower Egypt. The king who ruled the people who lived in the south at the base of the mountains wore a white crown. Their land was called Upper Egypt. These two regions were always fighting. They spoke the same language, they worshipped the same gods, they had the same culture, but for some reason they could not get along. So about 5,000 years ago, you had King Menes, who lived at the base of the mountains and ruled Upper Egypt. He conquered Lower Egypt. These two regions were combined into one country, but it didn't help. The people kept fighting amongst themselves. So, to help his people think of themselves as one people, the king had a special crown made, a double crown. It was not white, it was not red, it was a mix of white and red, and it did the trick. The people started calling their combined land the Two Lands. Over time, the two lands became... So this is what you need to know. Again, the last slide, I just wanted you to listen. You didn't have to write everything. But what you need to know for the test is a king called Menes united the two kingdoms around 3000 BC and wore a double crown of white and red. He was known as the Lord of the Two Lands. So let's give you about 30 to 40 seconds to get that down.
Menes, meaning he who endures, was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh believed to be the first man to unite Upper and Lower Egypt, and was the founder of the first dynasty of Egypt. Almost no archaeological records of Menes exist, but a great deal of information exists on the historical figure known as Narmer, who is also credited with uniting Upper and Lower Egypt, which leads some historians to believe that they are the same person. In Egyptian legend, he was believed to be the first human ruler of Egypt. The previous rulers were all believed to be gods, after he inherited the crown of Egypt directly from the god Horus. He became the king of Egypt in around 3000 BC. Menes is said to have introduced the practice of worship of the gods to Egypt, as well as encouraging Egyptian society to flourish by introducing greater sophistication, elegance, and luxury. His capital city is said to be Thuris in ancient Egypt, and it was here that he died and was buried after he was attacked by a crocodile while swimming.
Okay, so back to this last slide. Menes, tomato. I've heard it said both ways. What I want to do now is just remind you that at the end of day one, you want to highlight the important parts. You want to circle the key terms, circle the key dates. You want to put a star by things you think are going to be on the test. And you want to put a question mark if there's parts you don't understand. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be writing the questions that go on the left-hand column for these notes. But before we leave, I want to show you one last fun video.
Can't walk like me. Take a walk with me, though. Walk like an Egyptian. They say the Nile River's Egypt, chocolate and crops on the beach, and you can believe it. The yearly flood left rich dirt called soot, so they planted in the soot. the farms got built around the Nile. They got together to feel alright like Bob Marley, getting cotton, wheat, barley, writing on papyrus and hieroglyphics. That's the Egyptian alphabet you can get with. Am I a dimwit? I can't believe it, I can't read it. Looks like symbols to me. Nah, it's simple, you see. The Rosetta Stone let us know how to decipher the code. So now we study the old words that were written in stone. They believed in the afterlife. They get strips of cloth and they wrap you tight. Yep, pharaohs would get mummified and buried with food and clothes for the great unknown. Whoa, walk, walk like an Egyptian. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. We built the pyramids, we built the Sphinx, and then we wrote it down in hieroglyphics. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. We built the pyramids, we built the Sphinx, and then we wrote it down in hieroglyphics. What? I'm Osiris, Lord of the Dead. Don't mess with me, boy, I'll put a sword to your head. We fight invaders effortlessly, cause we're insulated by the desert and the seas. Harbor and Lower, we're divided up. Yep, until Pharaoh Menes, he united us. In 3100 BC, he said, I want my son to be Pharaoh after me, I'll start a dynasty. King Tut died before he got old, but King Tut got a mask made of gold. So Pharaoh sit back, sip tea, and get rich while workers break their backs to build the pyramids. 50 stories tall, that's incredible. They use ramps to move stones so they handicap accessible. If you a pharaoh whose last breath goes, you got buried in a pyramid like it's your gravestone. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. We built the pyramids, we built the Sphinx, and then we wrote it down in hieroglyphics. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. Walk, walk like an Egyptian. We built the pyramids, we built the Sphinx, and then we wrote it down in hieroglyphics.